Passerini and threw up a balloon that nestled into the hands of Billy Parks. But that tiny spark blew up in the Oilers' face when safety Cliff Harris denied Dickey down deep at the goal line. Total defensive domination won the Battle of Texas as Dallas eased past Houston 10-0.
A slew of crippling injuries has cut a swath through a Patriot team that only a few weeks ago was on the verge of a playoff spot in the American Football Conference, Tom.
Well, Pat, that's true, but even though Jimmy Plunkett was working with new men at most of the skilled positions, he was able to muster enough muscle to outscore the struggling Baltimore Colts.
At times, Baltimore quarterback Marty Dumrays finessed himself out of almost impossible situations against New England. But in the end, there were too many points and one too many defenders for Marty to cope with. However, early in their game with the Patriots, the eager Colts appeared on the verge of an upset when Dumrays found rookie Roger Carr with a rainbow. Unfortunately for the Colts, Carr's touchdown was voided by a holding penalty, so Baltimore knuckled down on defense. Leading the charge was number 78, John Dutton, the Colts' rapidly improving #1 draft choice. The game remained scoreless until the Patriots' Rodrigo Barnes, a former Dallas Cowboy, forced and recovered a fumble by Cotton Spire. The Patriots built a 7-0 lead when Jim Plunkett found linebacker turned tight end John Tanner for a touchdown. Trailing 17-3, Baltimore rebounded on Dumrays' arm and the sure hands of Roger Carr. The Colts narrowed the margin to 17-10 on a pretty quick hitter by Lydell Mitchell. But New England exploded for 10 more points on a field goal and a short smash by Minnie McHerron and led Baltimore 27-10 in the final period. Even with the game lost, Dumrays and Carr continued to confound Chuck Fairbanks' old college defenses. The game ended with a banged-up Dumrays squirting over with a last gasp touchdown, but it was too little too late as New England conquered Baltimore 27-17.
In order to keep their division title hopes alive, the Buffalo Bills had to beat the Cleveland Browns last Sunday. And amidst a cold, wet Cleveland afternoon, the Bills did just that.
From the opening kickoff, it wasn't hard to tell that it was simply going to be one of those days for the Cleveland Browns. Their luck continued when on their second series, the Browns mounted an incredible 25-play drive and managed only a field goal. Then Cleveland kicked off to number 89, Wallace Francis. And last year's AFC kickoff return leader brought it back 46 yards. As if the return by Francis wasn't enough, 2 plays later, O.J. Simpson did his thing from 41 yards out. The Browns' frustration had only just begun, though, as number 17, Brian Sipe, retreated to pass from his own end zone. Sight was flopping like a fish out of water in his attempt to avoid the safety brought on by Bill defensive tackle Mike Kadish. But while the Browns' offense failed, the Buffalo passing attack fared little better. Only one pass completion in 7 attempts spelled the story of the Bills' air game. But with a potent ground attack in O.J. Simpson and number 34, Jim Braxton, the pass just wasn't needed as badly on this Sunday. Buffalo added 2 field goals to lead 15-3, 3 times victimizing Brown quarterback Mike Phipps with the interception. The only time the Browns produced was within the final minutes of play as Mike Phipps finally began connecting with his own receivers. A Phipps to Ken Brown hookup with 8 seconds remaining made the score closer, but the Bills won it anyway, 15-10 over the rapidly fading Cleveland Browns.
Well, Pat, Buffalo's back on top in the AFC East, or at least they're tied with Miami again, despite losing to the Dolphins in that down-of-the-wire battle for first place 2 weeks ago.
And the Dolphins, who had won 5 straight and were starting finally to look like world champions again, gave Don Shula some more gray hairs last Sunday in Shea Stadium.
It has been a trying season for Don Shula, mostly because 11 different starters, 4 on defense and 7 on offense, have missed games due to injuries. But last week against Joe and the Jets, the Dolphins appeared at first to have everything under control. After a close inspection of the Shea Stadium turf, Joe Namath decided it was time for a little landscaping. Having established a firm foothold, Namath accounted for the only score of the first half with a play-action rollout pass to his 6'5" tight end Rich Castor, number 88. The third period belonged to another number 12, Bob Greasy, whose style is substantially different from Joe Namath's. Bob Greasy can scramble and he can run. Last Sunday, when he saw a way to the end zone, he ran for it. Greasy's touchdown tied the game at 7, and except for a New York field goal, there was no more scoring until midway in the 4th period when Greasy threw a lateral pass to wide receiver Nat Moore, who did a pretty good job of getting the ball downfield to the other wide receiver, Paul Warfield. From the 6, Greasy turned what appeared to be a broken play into an easy 6-pointer to Jim Kick. Miami led 14-10, but with 5 minutes left in the game, Joe Namath turned the clock back about a half a dozen years. As number 88 Rich Castor said after the game, we showed them a formation they hadn't seen all day. They got mixed up and I got wide open behind them. Castor's 6th reception and 2nd touchdown gave the Jets a 17-14 lead, but there was still plenty of time for Bob Greasy and the Dolphins to come back. For the 2nd week in a row, number 47 Roscoe Word killed off a final drive with an interception. The Jets had their 3rd straight victory and the Dolphins their 3rd loss of the season, more losses than in the 2 previous seasons combined. While the Jets may have deserved the victory, the Dolphins can blame no one but themselves for the loss. For in the game, they committed numerous un-Dolphin-like errors, including